Kaidam Basin, Qinghai Province, China. A region so desolate, so chemically hostile to life that climatologists call it a hyper-arid wasteland. The locals call it something else. They call it the landscape of the gods. In 2002, a team of geologists ventured into this forbidden zone looking for fossilized pollen. They expected to find dust. They expected to find silence. Instead, on the slopes of Mount Baigong, they found an industrial anomaly that defies every timeline of human evolution. Embedded in the rock face of a pyramid-shaped mountain are pipes, hundreds of them. Some are as wide as a barrel, others as thin as a needle. They run deep into the mountain's core and stretch out into the nearby saltwater lake Tosan. They are not surface artifacts, they are geological features fused into the sediment. When the samples were sent to the Beijing Institute of Geology, the results did not return a biological classification, they returned a metallurgical one. The pipes are 30% ferric oxide. They are rusted iron. So why do we reject it? Because of a bias called chronological snobbery. The belief that the past was simple and the present is complex. We believe we are the first to tame the molecule, but the evidence suggests that innovation is not a straight line, it is a cycle. Civilizations rise, unlock secrets, and then, through war, greed, or fear, those secrets are erased. The story of the flexible glass is a warning. It reminds us that technology is fragile. It doesn't just need an inventor, it needs a society that allows it to exist. Tiberius made a calculation. Stability was more important than progress. He deleted a timeline where Rome entered an industrial revolution of advanced materials. How many other inventors knelt before emperors, kings, or councils, offering a future that was too dangerous to accept? The glassmaker of the Palatine Hill left no blueprints, just a dented bowl and a headless corpse. But his story forces us to look at our own smartphones, our fiber optics, our shatterproof screens, and realize this might not be a new invention. It might be a rediscovery, a ghost from a timeline that was cut short by the swing of a sword. The shards of history are sharp, and some of them do not break. Protruding from the ground like a drainage system, it mimics the layout of a cooling tower or a pumping station, a system designed to cycle fluid from the saltwater lake into the mountain. But before we leap to the conclusion of extraterrestrial intervention, we must address the natural explanation. It is the duty of science to be skeptical, and there is a theory. In 2005, researchers proposed that these are not pipes, but fossilized tree casts. They argue that millions of years ago, a flood submerged a forest. The trees were buried in sediment. Over eons, the wood rotted away, and iron-rich minerals filled the hollow spaces, creating a natural casting that looks like a rusty pipe. This process is known as pedogenesis. It is a comforting theory. It wraps the mystery in a neat geological package. It explains the shape, it explains the age, it explains the iron, but it fails to explain the anomaly hidden inside the metal. When the Beijing laboratory analyzed the alloy composition, they identified the iron, the silicon dioxide, and the calcium oxide. But 8% of the material returned as unidentifiable. The elements did not match known terrestrial ratios for natural mineral formation. To understand why this technology was suppressed, we must understand the Roman economy. It was built on the gold standard, silver denarii, and bronze. Value was derived from scarcity and durability. A material that was as transparent as crystal, as cheap as sand, yet as durable as metal, would have caused hyperinflation. It would have crashed the value of the imperial treasury overnight. Tiberius didn't kill the inventor because he was cruel. He killed him because the invention was an economic weapon. But the silence of the archives does not mean the science didn't exist. We assume the Romans were limited to simple silicates. We were wrong. In the 1950s, the British Museum analyzed the Lycurgus cup, a Roman chalice from the 4th century. For decades, scholars couldn't explain why it looked green when lit from the front, but turned a glowing blood red when lit from behind. When they finally put a fragment under an electron microscope, they found the impossible. The glass was impregnated with particles of gold and silver, but not just any particles. They were ground down to 50 nanometers. That is 1,000th the size of a grain of salt. This is not crude smelting. This is nanotechnology. The Romans were manipulating matter at the atomic level to create optical effects. If they could engineer dichroic glass using nanotechnology, is it truly impossible that a master chemist stumbled upon the formula for borosilicate or a semi-crystalline structure that allowed flexibility? We know today that adding boron oxide to silica creates heat resistance and durability, the Pyrex we use in kitchens. We know that fiber optic cables are essentially flexible glass strands. We know that Corning has developed willow glass, a sheet of glass so thin and elastic it can be rolled up like paper. We consider these cutting-edge 21st century breakthroughs, but the descriptions in the Satyricon imply that a version of this chemistry existed in a workshop in Rome 2 millennia ago. The execution of the glassmaker was remarkably effective. The formula died with him. No written record of the mixture survives, but the psychological scar remained. The Romans were obsessed with eternal materials. They built concrete that gets stronger when it touches seawater, a formula we are only just now learning to replicate. They built aqueducts that still function. They were engineering a civilization to last forever. Vitrum flexile fits their profile perfectly.